no hesitating. When you're just so tired of trying, all alone you feel like hiding. Together we'll keep fighting. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Feel this, we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Can you see the sun is shining like a new hope? Feel it rising, coming over the horizon. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Feel this, we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. There's no stopping.
Okay, I think we're on the air. Okay. I had some technical difficulties. And let me just lower this. And I apologize for going on later tonight. I usually go on at 9 p.m. I mean 7 p.m. But well, with the holidays, we had a lot to do today, and my wife and I, we sing in our church choir, and we had a practice today for a Christmas cantata that we're doing tomorrow. So it's been busy, and then we went to see West Side Story tonight. My wife, my son, and myself, and we love that movie. Okay. And I love Leonard Bernstein and his music and the whole movie. And being originally from New York, that movie means it means more because it's from growing up. I grew up in Brooklyn, but it's about the streets of New York and events that happened. Well, these events didn't actually happen particularly, but events like that. The main theme of the prejudice between the two groups, that's part of what I experienced growing up. And so we went to see that. So I tried to pre-record the show, but then it just got too much. So I decided just to make it at 9:00. Okay, everybody. So and let me let me stop Mr. Percy Faith and his orchestra. I love this Percy Faith and this orchestra Christmas album because talking about growing up in New York, every Christmas Eve, we lived in an apartment, so we didn't have our own fireplace. So we would put on WPIX, which was Channel 11, and you would see a fireplace roaring, and you would hear a lot of Christmas music, and they played a lot of Percy Faith's music, and the very kind of singers. So I'm going back, and those singers were even before I was a little kid. I mean, I guess this is from the 50s and 60s. I mean, I was a little kid in the 60s, okay, but and I guess those albums did come out in the 60s, so it was it wasn't before my time. But we would listen to that music every Christmas Eve as we, well, my mother and my grandmother would prepare, and my sister would prepare for a Christmas Eve dinner. And since we're part Italian, me and my sister, my dad is all Italian. Well, he was born in Brooklyn, but he's of Italian descent. But my mother was born in Germany, and but Christmas Eve we'd always have all the fishes. So those Christmas Eve was always big with rushing and getting the food from the local fish market and getting it and preparing it and then eating and then getting ready for midnight mass. And so it was a fun time. It really was. And the hustle and the bustle of it was really great. So that's a lot of reminiscing. And okay, let me take off my let me take off my mask. And hold on for a second. Maybe we'll do a little bit more of Percy Faith. Let me take off my mask. Let me find out the button for that. Okay. And so I could take this. I'm sorry. My mouse is acting very funny tonight. I don't know why. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay. All right. Okay. So with that in mind, let me do my little introduction video that I always do. And let's get to that right now. And here it is. Okay, we're back. For some reason, I'm not coming out on my blog site. I don't know why. I have to figure that out. But I'll rebroadcast this again. But it's going to all my Facebook channels and to my YouTube channel. But okay, so let's get into today's meat of the matter, and that's there's some good news out there about buying homes right now. And the good news is that FHA and also the loans for Fannie Mae and also there's the oh god, well I'll get the text up there, but they've raised their um, maximum buying amounts. Okay, and they had to do that because of the increasing value of homes, and I guess you could say because of inflation. There's a lot to do with it, but the value of homes nationwide have gone up within the last year, circling around 20%. So that's pretty big, and so FHA and Fannie Mae guidelines, they usually have, when you go with that type of conforming loan, and we're going to go into more detail with that today. There are limits that you could use these government-backed securities, so that you could going only with a 3.5% down mortgage. Okay, with non-conforming loans, which are not backed by the government, and the government is not buying them, you have to put down around 20%. Okay, but much more than 3.5%. And let's say with a $400,000 home, 10% is 40,000, 20% is 80,000. A lot of people don't have $80,000 laying in their bank account. Maybe some do, okay, but not the majority of Americans. So basically, without these programs, it's only the really people who are very well to do, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they would be the only ones that could afford homes without these programs. All right, and that's one of the reasons why these programs originally came into place, to help the the middle income person and maybe lower income person, okay, instead of the person who has money from, because of their jobs. It could be family money, all right, that they have that already. If we did not have these government-backed programs, it would only be upper middle class and the high class, or the rich class, whatever you want to call it, would be homeowners. So we have these programs, but there was usually limits to it. Okay, like I believe in Hampton Roads, I think the most, and don't quote me on this, would be around like 472,000, but they raised it. But each area of the country is different. Of course, if you go to New York or you go to California, where your average home that's 3 or 4 bedroom is around $600,000. Okay, those mortgage limits are higher automatically. Okay, so it goes by state, and they look at what is the average price of the home is. Okay, but throughout the country, they had to have raised these limits so that people could buy homes with these good programs with 3.5% down, a good mortgage rate, okay, low mortgage rates, and they could become homeowners. So let me get that work on the screen right now, and why it just became easier to be a homeowner. Now, this article is also on my blog, and what I like about this article a lot, as we go down, I'll just go down fast. Here, wherever you have the light blue, you could click on that, and it will go to another article or a page where they have definitions, and you could get even further resources on this material. Okay, but basically, recently, and I'm going to bring in, let me get my highlighter on so you could all see what I'm doing. So with today's times, that are trying, and again, we are suffering. Um, I sort of needed something to drink. My throat is very dry. Um, that and I don't know if you could really equate. I mean, whenever we see prices going up, it's called inflation. We have high home prices right now. Part of it is inflation. Part of it is also because of the low inventory that we have right now. Remember, it's a very basic economic principle. Whenever you have a low supply of an item and a great demand, that pushes prices up. So, to say the reason why we have home prices right now, you could say inflation, but the biggest problem is that the low amount of homes that are available. Okay. So what two obstacles do home buyers have during these times, and basically all times? Okay, the ability to save for a down payment. Okay, and the ability to qualify for a mortgage at the current living standards. So we already talked about the down payments because again, if you're going for a $400,000 home, 10% is 40,000, 20% is 80,000, and if you're going for a mortgage that needs 20% down, that's a lot of shimalolis to save up. Okay. But when we use a Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, or Federal Housing Administration, well, let's just move down here. This past week, both challenges have been mitigated to some degree for many purchases. The FHFA, which handles mortgages by Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, and the Federal Housing Administration, is raising its loan limit for prospective buyers in 2022 or purchases. The term used to describe the maximum loan amount they will entertain is the conforming loan limit. Now, the question is, what is the difference between a conforming loan and a non-conforming loan? And to put it very simply, conforming loans are the only loans that meet the requirements to be required by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Jumbo loans, which exceed the conforming limit, are the most common type of non-conforming loan. Okay, so when a house falls outside that loan limit, then the loan you would have to go with a non-conforming loan. So what difference does that make to me as a home buyer? A Forbes article early this year explains the benefits of a conforming loan and why they exist. Since lenders can't sell non-conforming loans to Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac to free up their cash, they're a bit riskier for the lender. This is especially true for jumbo loans, which aren't backed by any government guarantees. If you default on the jumbo loan, it's a huge blow to the lender. And by the way, that's how lenders, whether it's a large bank like a SunTrust or a Bank of America or a smaller mortgage company that just deals with mortgages, they're not really a bank. Locally, we have here like Tidewater Mortgage. We have that company. They have to sell off these loans once they make it, so they could bring in more money into their coffers or into their vault. All right, and that's how they constantly are able to write new mortgages, because these mortgages are then purchased by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. Now they might find someone to purchase the loan. It won't be government backed, and um, these loans for the bank, because the possibility of not being able to uh, sell it back or sell it to Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, it's a little bit riskier for them because they have to hold on to it. In that sense, now with the non-conforming loans, you do have to put down more money, $20,000. The more money a person puts down on their mortgage, it makes it less risky for the bank for that loan. But still, it would be nice to be able to sell it and free up some more cash. So going down here, does lenders generally charge higher interest rates to compensate? And they can have even more requirements. For example, lenders who give out jumbo loans often require that you make a down payment of at least 20% or show that you have at least 6 months worth of cash in reserve, if not more. So the requirements are tough on the non-conforming loans. So what exactly happened last week? The FHA has significantly increased its conforming loan limits for 2022. Sandra L. Thompson, FHA Acting Director, explains in the press release that compared to previous years, the 2022 conforming loan limits represent a significant increase due to historic house price appreciation over the last year. While 95% of the U.S. counties will be subject to the new baseline limit of $647,200, approximately 100 counties will have non-conforming loan limits approaching $1 million. That's a lot. So what's good about that? This means that more homes now qualify for a non-conforming loan with a lower down payment requirement and easier lending standards. The two challenges holding many buyers back over the last year. The Federal Housing Administration, FHA, also increased its conforming loan limits for 2022. That could also mean an easier path to home ownership for many prospective buyers, as the Forbes articles explain. FHA loans can be very beneficial if you don't have as much savings or if your credit score could use some work. Okay? So to summarize, buying your first or next home may have just gotten much easier, less stringent qualifying standards, and less expensive. I'm going to go right down to the article that within this article that's on my blog, Real Estate with Mr. G .blog. The the Forbes article is there, and we're gonna just go to this little chart or outline, and we have conforming and non-conforming loans, right? So look at the conforming loans. Loans may be sold to Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, most likely to be cheaper, more common, limited to 548, 250 in most areas, and up to 822, 375 in some high cost of living areas. Non-conforming loans. Loans may be held by lender or sold, more likely to be expensive, less common because of the higher interest rate. They're more risky. They're less common and potentially no limits on loan size. All right. Here they go down to the conforming loan requirements. A minimum score of 620. You're always going to have a mortgage lender that says we could go lower than that. In my experience, I'm not saying it goes for everyone. If your score is lower because of medical bills, Um, a lot of times they could work with that because we don't plan to get sick, right? If your score is lower because you've maxed out all your credit cards, that's something that you may could have controlled it and keep it down. Maybe you maxed it out because of certain reasons, maybe to pay doctor bills. But if you have all these credit cards that are maxed out, that's going to lower it. And so if you're at 580, and that's the reason, um, it's highly likely they won't be able to fund you. But again, if it's lower because of medical bills, um, they may be able to work that out. And again, I'm not a mortgage professional. You would have to speak to them individually. Each company is different, um, and the thing is to be matched up with that right company that could service you. So they raised the maximum loan limits. The maximum debt to income is 43%. Minimum down payment required 3% on Fannie Mae, 3.5% on FHA. But when you go down to 3% or 3.5%, although you may have to pay for private mortgage insurance if you're putting less than 20% down. So you may have a better interest rate, but if you're putting down less than 3%, you would have to pay private mortgage insurance. Okay. If you put down 20% or more, that's the benefit of it, that you don't have that. But if you are a active duty member or veteran, you do not have that. The VA does not have any private mortgage insurance. So so we go down to what is a non-conforming loan. A non-conforming loan is simply any mortgage that does not conform to the requirements set forth by Fannie and Freddie Mac. Non-conforming loans commonly include jumbo loans, those above Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac limits. The government-backed loans like VA, FHA, and USDA loans. Okay, now these are the ones that are actually backed by the government. Okay, VA loans, FHA, and USDA. All right, a lot of these USDA loans are in rural areas where they're trying to build more of an economy in that area, meaning more homes, and hopefully will bring more shopping areas, more parks, whatever. So you get a very good rate with the USDA. Okay. So the FHA loan is government backed. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they're able, when they write these type of mortgages, the bank is able to sell them to them. Okay. So of course, with the non-conforming loan benefits, you could afford a more expensive home, but now that's changing. Okay, and there are some drawbacks uh, to the non-conforming loans. Since lenders can't sell non-conforming loans to Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac to free up their cash, it is riskier for the lender. This is especially true for jumbo loans, which aren't backed by any government agency. So if you default on it, it's a huge blow to the lender. Thus, lenders generally charge high interest rates to compensate, and they may ask for more of a down payment. So, all right. The most important part of this, I'm going to close this out here, is that they have raised the limits. So you could purchase the more expensive home, okay, with this program that allows you just to put down 3.5%. That gives you a decent rate, okay, and you're just it's a great loan. There's not a whole bunch of other lending requirements on it than but where you would find more with a non-conforming loan. Okay, so that's the gist of it. It's really better for you, getting the better rate because it is able to be sold or backed by the government, and this is a plus for a lot of home buyers because of increasing values of homes. Now, with that said, what was nice that came out this week, and let me decide this, is that the new winter buyer and seller guides for 2021-22 are now out, and it's on my blog, and I'm going to put it here. If you go to my blog, and actually, if you forget to type all this, in the top menu, you'll see resource materials. You click on that, and you will get to be able to download free of charge my Christmas gift to you, the winter buyer and seller guides. And once you do that, you read them, and it doesn't teach you to do it all on your own. It makes you aware of what is involved, and then you give me a call and you say, "Hey, Mr. Tree, I need to buy a house or I need to sell a house," and that's where that's the purpose of that. Okay, so remember that. So let's just show a little video on that. Okay. All right. So that's what you do. That's where you go. Before I go to anything else, I will be away next weekend, and I probably will do my podcast, live stream podcast, right before Christmas. I probably will do it for Monday night. I'll be away for the weekend, seeing the grandchildren up New York State. With my wife. So I will move it then to Monday night. All right, instead of trying to rush and do one this week and pre-record it. So I will see you next Monday night then. And so in the meantime, I believe I hear my producer, William is calling me that we may have a celebrity singing group in the audience. Is that true, William?
Chris, great news. We have a celebrity singing group in the audience. They are an American singing group from Newport, Rhode Island, 6 siblings noted for performing professionally and singing harmonies at an early age, later with their mother. The band was formed in early 1965 by brothers Bill, Bob, and Barry. Their brother John joined shortly thereafter. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Cowsills.
Well, it was nice seeing them again. The council. I'm glad they're still around. They sound great. All right, so that's today's show. And again, I'll do a show next, not this Monday. Let's see, this Monday today is 11, 12, 13, will be the 20th. I will do a show then on the 20th. And that'll be the show before Christmas. So I'll try to make it as special as I can. And that's it for today. If you haven't been vaccinated, please get vaccinated. And if you haven't, wear your mask as you're waiting. And if you got the 2 shots, get the 3rd. Be kind to each other. And remember, the greatest power we have is to love. And the greatest gift, each other. And I'll see you next week.